Hey everybody, welcome to the daily take two. Hey everybody, welcome to the daily update for February 12th, 2026. Happy Thursday. Woo! Woo-wee! All right, a lot to get to here. Let's go to the screens for a second. All right, let's do a little recap on the day. What do you notice when you look at these 3 days? This day, and this day. What we've seen on each day is we've seen this gap up, small gap up, and then we kind of rally a little bit, then we lose that. And we have not really a trend down day, but we have a down bias. What did we see yesterday? Big gap up, lost it all, kind of bounced a bit, and then, kind of went sideways. And today, same thing. Gap up, lose it all, and close at the absolute lows. So we have these continuous gap ups that fail. That's not good. And that's what we saw all day long today. Once we lost the 20 here, that was it. And we just sold off. Look where yesterday's low was. How early we hit that and just kept selling. It looked like we were maybe going to rally here. This is kind of a little inverted head and shoulders pattern right here. And I think a lot of people thought, well, maybe we're going to get that power hour save. And we just fell off a cliff and closed at the ultimate lows of the day. If you want to see how nasty the selling was, look at the NQ. Now you see me do this. I think if you're watching the intro, you'll see that I'll line up support and resistance levels based upon where we closed. Here's the support and resistance levels I had from the past couple days on NQ, right? And then here's some older ones from way back here. We just sliced through them. Look at that 20. Look how far away from the 20 NQ traded the whole day long. So ugly, ugly, ugly action. All right, so let's go over here real quick. Yes, over here. So last Sunday, I put out a post looking at, not last Sunday, the Sunday before. So 9 days ago, looking at 5 names that were oversold that we wanted to watch to see if we could get a reversal, right? Some sort of snapback trade. Here's what the names were. They were Path. Now, here's where Path was when I put that post out here. We did get a little bit of a snapback, but we are much lower. What else is on that list? Palantir. There's where I put it out. Got a little snapback, way lower. SoFi, no snapback, lower. Reddit, just dropping off of a cliff. Roku, minor snapback, dropping off a cliff. So names that were already oversold 9 trading days ago are getting more and more oversold. We can go through the whole list if you want. I mean, some of these things are just absolutely insane. Just let's take a look at some of the things that are oversold right now. Uber, ICE. Look at ICE is getting decimated. Pins, Amazon, Netflix, Toast, breaking all these lows. Dash, look at that implosion. Coin, which has earnings probably as we speak here. Hood getting smashed. And this is the biggest problem here. Apple. Apple had been holding up really good. And they say they kill the generals last. Well, Apple's the general that just got smushed today to the tune of down 5%. So what's going on? What the hell is going on? The disclaimer is we never really know what's going on. We don't really know what's driving the selling. And the whole point of technical analysis is we don't really care what's driving the selling. We just care about our technicals and about our studies and about risk reward and all that stuff. But let me take off my technical hat and put on my I'm a human being hat. There's a lot of things going on. We have a potential for another shutdown in the government, which could be worrying the markets. There's news today that a second carrier group is going towards the Gulf, which people think is going to heighten the chances that we maybe attack Iran. But what I think is happening right now is an extreme sentiment shift. And what I mean by that is I just went through a whole list of names that are way, way oversold. And there's also a lot of names in the software sector that are oversold. So let's go back to, this is the IGV software ETF, right? Way oversold, decimated, okay? And the reason that these names are oversold is because there is this belief right now that AI is going to kill software. That's what's been going around for a while now. And yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, this post was put on Twitter by Matt Schumer. You can see it if you go to my Twitter feed. And it's this big opus. It's this big thesis, this big apocalyptic theory of what's happening right now in AI. So he's basically positing that AI, all the things we've talked about killing jobs, killing industries, killing sectors. It's not going to happen in 3 years. It's not going to happen in 3 months. It's happening now while we sleep. And this post got 75 million views. Did I put it back up there? Let's see. Yeah, this post, 75 million views so far. It's going everywhere. Everyone I know has sent it to me. People that are not even in the markets have sent it to me. And sometimes what happens is you get these extreme sentiment shifts, right? AI is going to kill software. And then you get extreme price moves. And that is the spot where you get really, really nasty snapback. So, this AI post is saying that the end is near. Is the end near? No. Is the end near on this sell-off? It feels to me like it is. Now, is it the final end? That's the big question. We don't know the answer to that. All we know is that a potential reversal trade feels like it's close. We've already walked through how you do this. Do you buy the falling knife? I would say no. Some people are doing it strategically in the Lund trading group. That's great. Do you wait till we stop falling and try to get an intraday spot to trade against? Better. I prefer the move after the move. So I'd like to wait for this counter trend rally if we have it, see a little bit of a pullback, a little bit of basing area, and then try to move higher. But it just feels like sentiment's really at an extreme right now. Not saying it can't get worse, but I've been talking about this for a while now. I believe that long ago we went into a post-truth world where the truth doesn't matter to people anymore. You used to be able to make an argument with someone, and if you presented them with the truth, they'd go, I was wrong. Now people just dig in. They just join their tribe. Truth doesn't matter. I believe that a few years ago, we crossed into a post-data world where data doesn't matter either. You give people data, they don't care. We are in a belief system market. I think this is one of the corollaries that's actually true when it comes to comparing this market with the dot-com market of the late 90s. A lot of the names, most of the names that blew up and went away were belief names. There was a stock back then called Cosmo.com. And what they did was they promised 1 hour delivery of almost anything for no fees. There was absolutely no way this company would ever be profitable, but people believed in the idea. They believed in the concept. And that's what happened during the dot-com boom is belief expanded, right? It expanded through all these names, through these sectors, mostly in the NASDAQ. What people forget is that there was a whole sector of the market that did not get impacted very much by the dot-com implosion because those were people that still were tying their things to PEs and to earnings and to forward growth and all that stuff. A whole segment of the market got caught up in beliefs. That all exploded, and it took 15, 20 years to reset. I believe we are in another type of market where people are tying themselves to beliefs. And I think there are a lot of stocks out there like an Oklo. They have no product. They have no chance to have a product. They're trading at a $10 billion market cap today, but a couple months ago, they were at a $30 billion market cap. What's changed between then and now? There's no fundamental change because there's no fundamentals. Belief, right? People lost their faith. They're selling Oklo. I think this is what's happening in the software names. People are freaking out about these AI stories that are going around. Logistics stocks got hit today because of AI. They say that somehow AI is going to replace logistics companies that actually have to have ships and trucks and things like that. So it feels like there's an irrational extreme in sentiment that is coming lockstep with an irrational oversold situation. So I feel like the end of the pullback is getting close, at least short term. Then the question is, after the bounce, what happens then? Then we have to reevaluate, right? By the way, this belief system that I'm talking about in the market, it expands and contracts and it moves, right? So just like money moves and liquidity moves, belief moves around. And so some of the belief The Kool-Aid stocks, the cult stocks have been getting hit. But the question is, what good stocks are they throwing out? They're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. What are the names in there that are really not cult stocks, but they're just getting caught up in it? And one of the things we're going to look at as we go through some of the lists here is, let's go back to IGV. So again, I showed you a bunch of names that are imploding. They're below those little pivots from last week, right? Names like Dash and Toast and Coin and Hood, right? But let's look at IGV. So IGV actually kind of pushed off towards the end of the day, even though the market closed at the lows. IGV didn't. And so one of the ways you could have played this, or any name like this, is when IGV was right down here at that support level and it bounced, and then you got this, you got this higher low intraday, and there's a break of that level. You could have entered here. And then when you get up to this area, you can say, okay, do I book some of my profits and hold it on the idea that it's going to pop more? Or do I sell it? The point is you have options. And this is a much better spot to get involved in a name that's oversold than this spot. Why? Because you've already had a counter trend rally, which this time stopped here. And now you're hitting this support level for the second time. So you know that if you find an intraday spot that's giving you some sort of upward movement in price, it's a better odds that this is going to hold, right? And this is all we do here in the Lund Loop repetitively. We're just looking for little things that put the odds in our favor. We don't do this, okay? We don't catch knives, right? We try to wait for the things that are the less binary they can be, the better. And I think we're getting towards a spot where we're going to have a lot of opportunities, but we may not be there quite yet. So, all right, let's go through everything here. And boy, there's a lot to see today, and most of it's ugly. If you're watching this on Twitter and you want to see the full video, you can click the link in the reply. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can click the link in the comments. Okay, so